BTV Sports. BTV Sports.
Start reacting and thinking about where the balance of the game lies. It was interesting stuff. Probably the Aussies will be delighted to get to the finishing line with just 4 down, Ricky.
I think they will be, yeah, especially having been sent in. There's been something in the pitch for the bowlers all day today. I think every batsman we've seen come to the crease have sort of struggled with their timing. I mean, they've occupied the crease for long periods of time. No one has yet gone on and made a really big score, which is what you always want at the start of a test match. But, you know, did England bowl full enough early on? I'm sure we'll talk about that later on. But the Aussies would be pretty happy only losing 4 wickets on day one.
Yeah, well, I mean, England have got things to be cheerful about, not least the dismissal of Steve Smith, and we'll get to that. But will they feel they've slightly left Australia off the hook?
Well, absolutely. When you win the toss and you bowl first, you hope for, 3 or 4 wickets by lunch, not by the close of play. They didn't start particularly well, but I thought they bowled well all day without being brilliant. They put the ball more or less in the right spot. The ball did do something all day. As Ricky said, no one really looked in. So it was a fairly attritional day for bat and ball, but I think that both teams will be fairly happy, but Australia probably a little bit happier.
Interesting to hear Graham say bowled well all day, because the consensus earlier was that maybe in that first hour they just were struggling for the right length here.
Yeah, look, I think I'd have to agree with that. I think we saw some graphics early on in the day, didn't we? Early on the first session, maybe the first 14 or 15 overs, 70-odd% of short deliveries in that, and then that's not good enough. Now, Joe Root backed his bowlers in, won the toss, gave them the best of the conditions, new pink ball, grassy wicket, and they just didn't adapt quick enough. Now, those deliveries there, because they're so short, they're actually passing the outside edge of the bat. There's enough movement there. There's the graph, and that's been actually, that's over 1 to 14, so there's 58% there. The next 7 or 8 overs, it actually went up to about 71, 72%. So I think they missed an opportunity to really test out the top order of Australia in the first session of play.
And actually, the 3 of us that were sat there pontificating as we do during the rain delay thought Jimmy, Stewart, the others will have a bit of a chat about how to remedy that, and they did come out and bowl better after the rain delay. But funnily enough, it was a run out that kind of galvanised maybe the better effort.
Well, that's the best way to get your first wicket here at the Adelaide Oval. Brilliant misfield from Moeen Ali. Did that on purpose, obviously. But in all seriousness, the fielding from Chris Wokes, we'll see it here from another angle. He could have picked this up and thrown it off balance. He realised, right, I've got time, set himself, threw it down. Very mature cricket and very impressive work.
Yeah, obviously that's the breakthrough. You can see in the body language, OK, we're off and running. But they also translated that, didn't they, into better deliveries, Ricky?
Definitely. That was the very next delivery, that one there. A lot fuller attacking the stumps. Another one there, maybe just a fraction on the shorter side. But I think we spoke all day that they had to find a length that was going to challenge the top of the stumps. Now, when you think about that, it's pretty much a forward defence length. Now, that one there's a little bit short, so it passes past the outside edge. There, that's a length. Tempting the drive, bringing the batsman forward, making them force you off the front foot.
Yeah, then a little bit of short stuff, maybe just to mix it up, but often catching an edge, even if it didn't carry. And actually, a lot of balls didn't carry, Graham.
Well, they didn't. I mean, the wicket isn't quick. The Aussies said beforehand it's going to be a real fast, hard wicket. Trying to scare the batsman, really. You can see that. I mean, that's after the rain. It's definitely fuller. The length actually got fuller, more towards the stumps. England bowled, but they made the Australians play more, which is, I mean, in the first 10 overs, you really need to make the opening batsman feel for the ball, maybe go for those drives. And they weren't quite able to do that, but like we say, after that run out, they were great for the next couple of hours.
Will David Warner be happy with his day's work? He got almost to 50, but it never looked as comfortable as he often does.
Will he be happy? No, probably not. I mean, he got a good start, never went on. And as a top order batsman, when you get to 40 or 50, that is your job. Your job in this team is to make hundreds. It's not about 40s or 50s. I've said forever, 50s in Test cricket win you nothing. It's the big hundreds that win your games. So, look, he'll be disappointed. As much his mode of dismissal rather than anything else, he'd done all the hard work, got to 40, been out there for over 100 balls, and then played a shot that he wouldn't be that happy with. So, but saying that, and Graham highlighted it before, every single batsman today really found it difficult. You had to wait and sweat on a really bad ball before you looked like scoring, really. So, I mean, Khawaja was probably the pick of the batters, to be honest. He probably made batting look as easy as anybody did today,
Yeah, no, and actually, you could, I suppose, have a similar conversation about Khawaja in the sense that good shots, as comfortable as anybody perhaps at times, and then...
Well, you know what I really liked about Khawaja today, because he's been under some pressure, because of his dismissal last week, because he got out to that spinner, he came out with a real game plan against a spinner. He was going to be proactive. He definitely works on it during the week. You see here, trying to give himself room and hit the ball. And just his pull shots. His pull shots are a thing of beauty. And he played 2 or 3 really good ones today. Look at that. That's gorgeous. Even as a bowler speaking, it's great to see a man play that.
Here's the drop.
Now, this is the one area that really annoyed me. Oh, we've not got a replay, but down in the deep, you can't afford to field with keeper's pads under your wides.
Yeah.
It really got me.
Got to his 50 as a result, but then shortly after...
Straight after the break, wasn't it? I mean, it's actually a pretty loose shot as well from a top-order batsman starting his innings again after the break. It was always going to be difficult, the evening session here, and that was the first over into the evening session. So he'll be disappointed. Another guy that occupied the crease for a long time, made a good 50, but didn't go on. So he'll be as disappointed as David Warner.
Good catch from James Finch, that.
Yeah.
Really good. Kept his head very close to his hands, which always makes it a lot easier to catch the ball.
And then, listen, it's been the conversation, certainly amongst us English folk, all week. How do you solve a problem like Steve Smith from our point of view? And who would solve it? But Craig Overton, having made 40, but obviously normally 40 becomes 140.
Well, he looked great again, didn't he? There was a bit of needle today. Brody early on saying, how's your heart? You know, where's your heart? You know, because of all the punching. And then Jimmy Anderson, he bit back. You know, they obviously went out to, you know, try and rile him, try and wind him up.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that particularly, but it seemed to work. Even though he really was fired up. I mean, this was just Anderson and Smith. A bit embarrassing, really. I think the umpire should be allowed to bang their heads together like a dad in the car. You two in the back, you can get out and walk in a minute. But then, this is how you do it. You just pick Craig Overton, he'll clean him up.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously a good ball. It's a dream moment for him, isn't it? For any player on debut. I
mean, we talk about it all the time, but bowling in this game to any batsman is not rocket science. If you can bowl enough balls at the top of off stump, you're in the game, right? That was a good off-cutter. It did come back in off the wicket, but you have a look at Smith's head position there as well. He won't be happy with that. He was back off the ball a little bit, never really committed onto the front foot. And if he had have committed further onto the front foot, he would have negated the amount of seam. That ball wouldn't have got through that gap. So he'll also be disappointed. But they went after the captain today, didn't they?
They did.
They went after him, and Stuart Broad, pointing to his chest, asked him about his heart. I think they found out last week where his heart is. I don't think they need to ask that question too much.
But for Overton's point of view, for that to be your first Test wicket, that's a dream start. And I was really happy with him. Well done, mate.
Absolutely. An opportune moment then to hear from Craig Overton. He's with Ali Mitchell.
Well, here's a man who I'm presuming is pretty happy to have made a Test debut. Craig Overton, congratulations. When did you find out you were playing?
About an hour before start, before warm-up. So it was a nice little chat with Ruti there, but it was sort of make sure I could get my head down and concentrate on the day's play.
And then the decision to bowl first, was the bowling unit fully behind that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we were pretty happy to bowl first time. Obviously, it was overhead skies, and just we felt we could get a few early ones. We bowled pretty well all day, just didn't really get the nicks that we probably deserved, really. So it was a bit unfortunate that way, but we'll come back in the morning and get early ones to row, and then we'll be on top.
And good for you, did you feel, to just get out there straight away without spending time in the dressing room watching?
Yeah, it was nice. It was just sort of nice to get out there. It was a bit frustrating with the rain early on, and I sort of wanted to bowl before then, but obviously that came in the way. But once I got the ball in the hand, it was nice. And obviously, first bowl wasn't great, but then sort of come back later on in the day was really good.
And what about the wickets? Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was just a sort of a little bit of a crossing ball. Just sort of came back in a little bit, just skidded on a little bit, which was nice, and almost beat him for a little bit of pace. We had a little bit of answer early on. He was saying I was a bit slow, but I think that's just normal.
You were saying you were slow?
Smithy was, but I think that's part and parcel of it, and I'll just keep coming and hitting the deck hard as possible.
What is going to be the key to getting wickets? So you mentioned hitting the deck hard. Is it also bowling a fuller length, and does that come naturally to you?
It's not natural for me. I've worked probably over the last couple of years, getting a little bit fuller and hitting the stumps a bit more. But yeah, making sure that you use most of the, especially under the lights, making sure that you're hitting the stumps as much as possible and letting it do the work there. As
a team, though, putting Australia in, only 4 wickets down in the evening, how, as a team, are you feeling the day has gone?
We feel pretty happy. Obviously, we would have liked a few more wickets, but over the day we felt we bowled pretty well, and we just didn't get the luck of it sometimes, and they played a miss quite a lot. So we'll come back in the morning. If we get a couple of early ones, we feel we're right on top.
And I met your parents in Brisbane. Have they made it to Adelaide?
Yeah, they're here, yeah. I'm not sure where they're sat, so I haven't really seen them today, so I'll try and find them somewhere.
Congratulations on your debut. Good luck for the rest of the game. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.
That's a delight, isn't it, to have your mum and dad here to see that happen, to take the Aussie captain's wicket. In terms of the bowling generally, I mean, how did he bowl, do you think, Craig Overton?
Oh, look, I agree with Graham. I don't think they were that bad. I just think they missed an opportunity in the first 10 or 12 overs of the game. After that, they adapted and adjusted quite well. He was quite impressive. 1 for 47 from his 17 overs. You look at the other figures there. I mean, Broad 19 overs, but only 39 runs, but no wickets. So, I mean, as well as he bowled, and as well as what as Overton just said then, a lot of balls went past the outside edge. They just didn't get the nicks that they'd normally get.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And actually, from a batting point of view, really everybody's got pretty much in, other than maybe Bancroft, and obviously Hanscom and Marsh are the next two targets.
Well, yeah, I was quite impressed with Hanscom and Marsh, actually, because the two players in the Aussie line, with the way Hanscom stays right back on his stumps and Marsh isn't a great starter, I thought they might get out near the end, but they did really well to survive.
OK, let's get a reaction from the Aussie camp. I think Usman Khawaja is with Ali.
Well, Izzy, I want to ask you then, how does Australia feel the day has gone, having been put into bat here in Adelaide?
Pretty good, I think. 4 for 200. I think it'll be big sort of hour, big sort of first session for us tomorrow. If these guys can keep going and set up that nice total of first innings, it'll go a long way to winning this game.
Is the wicket playing as you were expecting it to?
Yeah, it's always the pink ball's always tricky in situations here. You know, it's a bit slow, it's a bit too paced, but that might change as the game goes on, as the wicket gets a bit drier, a bit harder. So, you know, it was classic day one, pink ball sort of game.
And you've enjoyed the Adelaide Oval before, and particularly the pink ball. Did you feel when you had that life that was an opportunity to go on and make another big score?
No, not really. I wanted to make a big score from ball one, but yeah, it was disappointing to get out when I did straight after the break. We were in a really good spot, really good position. I think Steve was quite disappointed to get out when he did too. We both had starts, but that's just cricket sometimes. Hopefully next innings.
Good luck for the rest of the match. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Well, dare I say, the first hour tomorrow, but we can change it at least to afternoon, given that it's not tomorrow morning, obviously, day-night test and all that, but it's going to be important.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's probably going to be the best time to bat. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or 1:30 to be tomorrow. Went half an hour earlier, a longer session. Although saying that, they've just taken the new ball, so the new ball's 1 overall. There'll be something there. It's going to be a new ball pitch all game. Because of how thick the grass is on the surface, the seam just grabs in the surface and will offer something. So look, important session for both teams tomorrow.
Well, more importantly, how laid back was Usman Khawaja? He felt like he was horizontal. He was half asleep.
Yeah, no,
he's late.
Yeah, no, he is absolutely. I've just checked the weather. It's similar to today, cool. I think there's a bit of cloud around. Obviously, we don't know if there's going to be a shower or two. It may happen. It doesn't look like it on the forecast, but that will be part of it as well. The conditions should be helpful with the new ball. Yeah, well, that was the reason England decided to bowl this morning. Just listening to Overton there, talking about the overhead conditions the way they were. So if it's similar in the morning, you can expect that it's going to be a real challenge for the Australian batsmen. If they get 1 wicket, England get 1 wicket here. Obviously, the keeper comes in and then the tail. So Australia probably had the best of today, but England by all means not out of it. And you know, there'll be a lot of talk about the toss and Joe Root sending him in. Let's wait for 3 or 4 days of the game first before we make a judgment on that.